Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local.
Great, that's true. All right, so now let's move on to you, Mike, and your item, which is about local guides and reviews and Google's review algorithm. So what did you learn?
So on February 1st, Google announced or wrote an article in the Local Guide Connect forum where they noted an update on how they moderate Google Maps reviews. They noted that in the previous few weeks that their protections took down more than expected policy-abiding reviews from a set of local guides. They noted that they follow these conversations closely in the Connect forum. And as part of their effort, this is as close to an apology as I've ever seen Google come. As part of our efforts to resolve the situation, we've launched an update to our protections. To fix them, we'll also automatically reinstate the policy-abiding reviews over the next few weeks of the older ones taken down. So I read it and I thought, this is public relations stuff. But I was curious about it on a number of levels. Firstly, it was an apology to local guides, not to businesses. Secondly, this has been happening not for weeks, but for months and months. It started last March with a rollout that I've covered elsewhere of the new algorithm. And I hypothesized that if they were letting more local guide reviews through, that I would be able to, in the forum, see that fewer reports of missing reviews and more reports of fake review attacks. So I went into the forum, did my monthly tabulation of all of the cases for a subset of days, and lo and behold, missing reviews were down. Reports of missing reviews, in other words, local guide reviews getting nuked, were down by 33%. And reports of fake review attacks were up by
33%.
33%. So I thought, I don't know if it's just bad statistics or luck, but clearly we're seeing the impact of that in the business forums, to which Google didn't apologize at all or make available.
And may not be reading as assiduously as they do the local guides for.
Yeah, or give as much shit about it. That's right.
So let me ask something. Let me clarify something, Mike. The review attacks are people are complaining about competitors writing negative reviews about them in terms of fake reviews?
Actually hiring companies to use local guides to mount a fake review attack. I am consulting with an air conditioning firm in Miami that's just been under constant attack, 5, 6, 10 reviews a day. And we've pretty much narrowed down who the likely culprits are, like who's buying reviews and who's
These are all negative. These are all negative reviews.
Yeah. Interestingly, the technique is to initially leave it as a positive review and then go back and change it. So, but yes, these are all negative reviews.
And these are all coming out of local guide accounts.
Yes, mostly. I mean, not all, but
not all fake reviews are from local guides, but local guides dominate Google reviews.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 2 legs and 2 arms, you don't even need 2 legs and 2 arms. You need enough fingers to type a couple reviews. You become a local guide. This is not a particularly esteemed position in life. So anybody. Google, as soon as you leave your second review, Google is encouraging you to become a local guide.
How dare you impugn the character of tens of thousands
I'm not impugning their
character.
I'm just saying it's a fairly low bar to become a member of that group, of which you and I and Greg are all members. So, but one of the things that this did for me was fully clarify this new filter, right? Over the past, 15 years we've been in local, they've had a singular review filter that looked at the content and very limited context of the review. So the content, did they use swear words? Did they have URLs in it? Did they use emojis? Was it left on the IP of the business account? Those kinds of things. It was a very limited view of fake reviews. Now we know that the algorithm looks at the photo. If the photo has words in it that are against these things, or if the photo is inappropriate sexually, the review will get attacked. We know that from the report I did a couple months ago, business characteristics, category, length in business, velocity of reviews are all it. And now we know for a fact that reviewer behaviors, are they in a pod of other reviewers? Are they being associated with review attacks? Who knows what other characteristics are they reviewing near their home? We don't know fully, but there now can fully flesh out that there are 4 major aspects to the review algorithm that will come into play, manifests itself slightly differently depending on which thing is triggering it. But it's interesting to me that it's a much more complex algorithm that can shut down whole categories like pregnancy care, as we saw, or Ukrainian and Russian businesses, or can shut down a business as well. If the attack is too great, the business just gets shut off. And I think they've automated all of this, and they're nuking a fair number of reviews. So as David pointed out in the green room, they're becoming the new Yelp of the review world.
Just that they haven't necessarily learned from Yelp's mistakes in terms of prioritizing their reviewers as opposed to prioritizing small businesses. So
correct. Both.
Really a very short-sighted decision given the theoretical importance of small business advertising to Google's share price. But
and there you have it.
There you have it.
All right. Well, there's a lot more that we could talk about, but we're out of time for this week. So we'll return to some degree to the more strategic global issues. There was a very important Supreme Court hearing about Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act this week. And there's
Isn't that the most bizarrely named act in the world, the Communications Decency Act?
Well, legislation is named for different reasons and in different ways, but there's a lot of macro stuff to talk about that we'll come back to next week. But this was a break from some of those bigger picture issues. So everybody, as always, thanks for listening. Tell your friends about Near Media, and join us for episode 103 next week.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.